He gets to sing the Bears Still Suck. So there you go.
They really, 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 really suck. Really, 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 really suck.
It's Bears Week, everybody. Bears Week. It's actually the 400th meeting between the Packers and Bears. All right, not quite that.
And it's the 400th episode of Hafeman Brothers. It feels like it. It feels like it.
Doesn't feel like it? But I heard from people this week saying that they need us more important than ever now with winter setting in, COVID getting crazy, clamping people down.
Wow.
They need us, man. So we got to step it up for them. So we're here for you tonight. We're here for the Packers tonight. We're here for the – no, we're not here for the Bears. We're here to ridicule a little bit of Bears. I tried, guys. I reached out to the 2 Bears fans I know. I told them we'd be nice. I invited them to come on the show. They didn't want to do it. They just probably because, Browner's going to tell us if he gets his audio working here. Brown, it's Browner time. You got the song? I don't know if he can hear us yet. He was having problems hearing us, which is not a bad thing. Like, if you don't hear us, it's not the worst. If Brown comes on, we're reserving the song for him, but he's working out his tech. Anyway, I think that's why. I think because the Bears are on like a 3-game slide or whatever it is, right? Aren't they?
4-game slide.
4-game slide for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Oh, that just likes your background.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty wild. Ben's got a new background tonight. That's nice. How do you get these things to work? I can never get them to work.
If you click on the arrow, on stop video, or video or on the screen, it'll say choose background, and then you choose a background.
I know that part, but I always my background doesn't work with I disappear into it. How do I get that to not happen?
I don't know, but I got a lot of light on me.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm so bright.
Get your spotlight. The future's so bright. Oh man, I
got my heart light too. Turn on your heart light. That's for snare.
Hey, do you know
what I shine wherever you go? That's my Neil Diamond impersonation.
You know something I saw this week?
What?
This is sorry, I'm getting us off course right away, but I couldn't believe this. So I don't remember why the hell I saw this or how this came up. Anyway, I was searching for some stuff on YouTube, and all of a sudden I saw "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. Yeah. Which was posted like 11 years ago on YouTube, but the song was from many, many years before that.
Yeah.
However, Rick Astley has more YouTube subscribers to his Rick Astley channel than Adam Lambert does to his channel.
Yeah.
And I watched the video for "Never Gonna Give You Up." Ben, have you seen that video recently? Do you remember it? If you haven't seen it, oh my God, the clothing choices in a couple of spots, I was like, wow. And then the day it is
never gonna give.
And he looks like he's 19.
Never gonna give.
He looks like he's 19 years old in that video.
Yeah, but he sounds like a you get that deep bass.
I know, it's amazing.
We've known each other. I can't even get that for so long. I don't know. You're still trying to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on.
You should check it out. Look at Rick Astley.
Play.
Never Gonna Give You Up.
And if you ask me how I'm feeling, understand. Never gonna give you up. That's why he does it. Give you up. Never gonna let you down.
It's like way in the back of his throat, right? Like,
yeah. Run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give. Never gonna give.
All right. Don't ruin it for him. Don't ruin it for him. That's a little sample of what you'll find if you look up Rick Astley. Never Gonna Give You Up. Browner's trying to join us. He's in the house.
Hey, I think I'm here.
He's somewhere in the house. Browner, we waited for you. It's your
Thank
turn.
you.
You take over the show with your Bears song because what's the truth about the Bears?
Let's see if I can get this to work here. You
Ooh.
guys still there?
We're here.
Yeah.
I had it queued up, ready to go.
Uh-oh. I'm anticipating.
Can you hear it? Probably
Can't
not.
hear. No, dang it. You're just gonna have to sing it, Brown. Give us a little
Another
bit.
Bears fan throwing insults in our face. The Packers are the greatest team to play the game, even if from time to time they've been a little lame. If you're McMahon, not even Porky Pig was as big a ham. They got a reputation that's mostly based on luck. Yes, the Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. Oh, yes, the Bears still suck. They really, 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 really suck. Yes, the Bears still suck.
Yes. So good.
I just realized something from that. That had to be the influence for that amazing hit by Bryan Adams. When a man loves a woman or whatever it is, because he sings, you know, if you ever really, 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 really love a woman, right? He has all those reallys. I think it's the Bears really, 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 really suck. You must listen to that, you know, because he's from Canada, so he's probably a Packer fan. I don't know. And he listened to that, which then inspired him to sing, you know, that a man can really, really, really love a woman, you know. You always know you're a great writer when you come up with a melody, and instead of just coming up with like a good line, you just say really, 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 you know. But for the Bears, it works. Or the Bears suck song, it works. And that was a very good rendition, Brown. That's way better than if we would have actually heard the actual version. Your singing was much better.
Classic. All right. Hey, you guys. Bernard's a little Bernard seems to get worried about a lot of stuff here. Bernard, don't be worried.
He's right.
Well, okay, we'll get into that a little bit. It's not a gimme game. He's right. It's not a gimme, but he's saying Trubisky scares him. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Why does Trubisky scare? Why does he scare you, Ben?
Because he's a wild card. Okay. If it was Nick Foles, I'd be like, whatever. But Trubisky, listen. They almost beat us last time. If it wasn't for the fact that the guy didn't see the guy coming over this way on that crazy freaking play at the end, and he got tackled at the 2-yard line or whatever it was, we would have lost that one. Trubisky can move the ball. He can run. He can do things. Nick Foles can't do anything. And the Bears' offensive line is terrible. I would love to. I'd rather see Nick Foles 100% out there than Mitch Trubisky. Because even if he can't throw the ball or he doesn't know who's open, he can at least run around and cause problems.
I want to see the Bears' offensive line be horrible. The Packers need some of that.
No, the Bears' offensive line is terrible. We all know that.
Well, let's hope so. Dang. Browner, are you worried about Trubisky instead of Nick Foles? Or, I mean, what do you think here?
I don't think so. I think their offense, I mean, I don't know. We know our defense has been pretty suspect and has, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not worried.
All right. Let me ask you a better question. Have you ever been worried in any of the games the Packers have faced Mitch Trubisky before?
Well, yeah, because the wild card is always their defense. If their defense shuts down our offense and keeps it close, then you wonder if he'll just pull some boneheaded play out of his, and our defense won't be ready for it.
It's fair, but I just think, I mean, I don't know. All right. So what are the Bears offense? What do they hang their hat on here? Like, what do they do? Or what do they try to do? I mean, do they try to run and then they do action off of that? Or
are you talking to me?
Yeah. Is it going to be totally different because Trubisky's in instead of Foles? So they're going to do.
I got to be completely honest. I worked a 12-hour day today.
Okay.
And prior to that, yesterday was Thanksgiving. And prior to that, I worked 8 days in a row. So I didn't look at any freaking Bears film at all. But we know the Bears. I mean, we play them every year. It's not like it's a freaking mystery. The Bears can't run block. The Bears can't pass block. Their offensive line is terrible.
So that song should be the Bears' offensive line really, 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 really sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Tyler Lancaster, his rookie year, at the end of the year, he got to play. His first game he got to start was against the Bears, and he was shedding blocks and making tackles against the run. So if Tyler Lancaster can shed Bear defender, offensive lineman, and make a tackle, they're not that great. I mean, I like Tyler Lancaster. I like him a lot. But when he becomes a superstar against you, that means you stink.
And Kenny Clark's got to just dominate this game,
Kenny
right?
Clark should dominate. Yes.
And Z Smith, Zadarius should look like a Pro Bowler this game.
Yeah, you would think.
Right?
You would think. But when it comes to
Eric,
I mean,
They've got
what's going on? They've got one good receiver, right? Robinson.
Yep. Are we going to put Jair on him the whole game?
Should.
Who knows what they're going to do? I don't even know anymore.
Jair,
I don't even care anymore.
Jair's still top-rated PFF, PPF.
Are you sure? Because
FFF cornerback in the National Football League.
You got an FFF on that 4th down and 4 play that I showed you on Tuesday. So that's what his grade was on that play.
I don't know. Hey, I got a great thing. I got a screen share later for a quote from Jerry Gray, cornerbacks coach. But I'm curious about we got to talk about finish this, and then we're going to go to Rick because Rick is trying to stir it up.
Well, Lee said something nice. Lee said he started a chant, "The Bears still sucks," after a playoff game in Chicago a few years back.
That's awesome.
It was his highlight of his life. That's some dedication right there. This from this Lee guy. He's a newer guy who just joined us a couple weeks ago. That is amazing and awesome. I would love to have done that myself. So congratulations, Lee, to have a highlight much better than my highlight of my life.
That's true.
In your life. Excellent work.
That's
okay,
true.
Back to you.
All right. Well, let's go down this path.
Mom,
then.
Browner likes your singing.
Yeah,
my mom loves your singing, Browner. There you go.
Brown said he wanted to come on and do it, and I was like, all right, that's reserved for Brown for sure.
Eric, I said all these nice things about the Raiders, and then now you go and write that.
He's trying to stir it up because he knows, like Khalil Mack, yes, and Hicks, they scare the crap out of me because, they could chew up the Packers' offensive line for sure. Like, it seemed like a bunch of other years when we played the Bears, Hicks was hurt, which was nice. Now he's not hurt, and he's a dominant monster. Like, that dude is a beast.
Yeah.
So if
they got to double team him. Are we doing Bears offense or Bears defense, or what? Are we just doing whatever?
I'm doing all my concerns right now because Bernard got me worried right out of the gate. Now I'm worried about everything. Now I'm worried about Khalil Mack.
Okay, here's another one. Cordero Patterson special teams.
No.
Tariq Cohen punt returns. Cordero Patterson kick returns against our crappy special teams. Guess what? We can't stop the Jaguars from scoring a touchdown on special teams. How are we going to stop two proven guys on punt return and kick return? Yeah.
Is that your biggest concern, Brown? The special teams, because it's been bad, and they got some strength. Special teams.
It's bad. I also think to take some of the pressure off Trubisky, they're going to try a lot of the jet sweeps and stuff with Patterson. They've been doing that a lot more the last couple of weeks. I haven't watched a ton of their games, but they even had him at running back, and we're running like sweeps off tackle with him a couple of weeks back, just to mix it up and utilize his speed, because I think he's probably the best athlete they have right now, maybe as an offensive weapon.
Yeah, he's a monster.
All right, we're gonna get a little more organized here in just a second, but we're gonna do a quick thing here from Jerry Gray. All right, I got a Jerry Gray quote, which I think is awesome. Here you go. You ready?
Okay.
Jerry Gray was asked this week by about some of his thoughts about a couple different things about Kevin King playing and some other stuff and blah blah blah. And then one of the things they asked about was right here. I'm gonna get it set up for you, about asking about soft coverage, on the soft third down coverages. And here's his response. One thing that you have to be aware of is your surroundings and where the sticks are. And if you are put into a zone coverage, you've got to drop to the sticks. When you are dropping, when the quarterback sets his feet, you set yours. You get ready to trigger. But our guys were still floating when the ball's in the air, and that's not a good sign of a zone team. But then he says we have to be just a little bit more aware of our surroundings. That's kind of an understatement, but that's at least telling you that the coach is telling the D-backs how to play the zone on those third down zones where they're supposed to stop people from getting to the first down, but the players are not doing it. So there's a little insight from Jerry Gray, former Vikings cornerback coach.
Well, make him a defense coordinator then. Let's go.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of times when they're in that zone and those guys look lost and turned around and they're not set. I would agree. That's a great analysis because they're not set when that ball's in the air, so they can't attack. That's the one thing that drives me nuts about our defense is they don't seem aggressive or attacking. And I love watching some other teams, like watching the Rams the other night, and that defense just flies around and attacks the ball. And even if they don't make the play, they attack and then they hit the guy hard, so he's thinking about it the next time. And I don't ever see that from our defense, which I don't know how you make a stretch run with that without that tenacity, I guess.
Just gotta have a ball bounce your way a couple times, or the other team screws up. We already talked about that, and it could happen. It can happen. The hope's still alive. But I want no part of the Rams. Let me just put that out there. I want no part of the Rams. They look really good. They look like the scariest team to me because that defense is.
I said that to a friend the other day. I think they might be the NFC favorite right now, just the way they're playing at this point in time. So I still have hope. I'm gonna hold on to hope, but if we're sharing our concerns, that's my concern that our defense isn't aggressive enough.
That's a good concern. It's true. Ben, you got anything on? Do you like Jerry Gray's at least saying it, like putting it out there, like, hey, we're telling the guys to do this, but it's not what they're doing. They got to be better at it. Or would you just not have them do it since they don't know how to do it? I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they don't know what they're doing, have them do what they know what to do. It's not that hard. I've been over this 1,000 times. I heard a stat today. Opposing quarterbacks, when Packers play man defense, their quarterback rating is 80-something, 84-something. Opposing quarterbacks in the Packers play zone, their quarterback rating is 109 or 112 or somewhere in there. That says it all. Stop playing zone. Because apparently your guys are just dumb. They don't attack. They don't do anything. At least when they play man, they can, and it's not, 4th and 4, and they, like I showed you, where Jair he lets the tight end scare him or whatever instead of covering the guy. Then you got a problem. But I showed you other plays. A couple weeks ago when Josh Jackson was the only guy playing man coverage on that one play. And then that allowed Gary to get to the quarterback against Jaguars and get the hit. Or not the hit, yeah. And then the guy, threw a bad ball and it was a little off target or whatever it is. Because he looked at the guy that Jackson was covering and Jackson was on him like glue. And then he got off of it. By the time he went to the second read, Gary was in his face. Hey, what a thought. Most of the time, quarterbacks go back and their first read is already open and they just throw it because they're playing a soft zone and they sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Josh Jackson even see the field against the Colts?
I guess he's got a concussion or something.
Oh, okay.
He's been in concussion protocol this week, I guess.
All right.
Or something, or last week, or that's why he didn't play last week, I guess.
Yeah,
or I don't know.
And a couple other injury notes. MVS and Kevin King both had Achilles injuries in the last practice, or Thursday's practice or something. So
yeah,
those are question marks now. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Montravius Adams is on IR, probably out for the year. That's why he didn't play last week.
Jeez Louise.
Which is fine because he's not that great anyways.
He was doing okay. He was a rotation guy.
Yeah, he was okay, but I mean.
All right, Rick does have sorry, I just saw the Mac part. Rick actually laid it out pretty good if you hadn't seen it. He said Mac is going to eat up the Pack O-line like I just did with that leftover pumpkin pie. So nice. Mac against Billy Turner really scares crap out of me, but even Bakhtiari, best left tackle in the world or whatever, I don't know. He can usually hold up against him okay, but I don't know. We'll see. He didn't look that great the last couple weeks.
If they think that Billy Turner is going to be able to go up one-on-one with Mac, we're in trouble.
They got to have a plan because he flips sides. Like he's not always on the same side. So, they got to have a plan for that. I mean, they got to chip. They got to use tight ends and backs. They have to. They just, I mean,
they'll run that tight end in motion and chip off the edge. I think is probably their plan.
They better.
God, I hope so. Or else Rodgers is going to get cream. I mean, that's what scares me.
The other pieces offensively, right, is like run the ball. I mean, run the ball. I know Roquan Smith has got like the most tackles for loss in the whole league or something like that. He's leading the league in tackles for a loss, and he's really come on at a backer and stuff. But you gotta. Packers ran a bunch of. So remember the first game of 2019, they ran and they all talked a lot about how the outside zone was the bread and butter of the system and blah, blah, blah. In that game, they ran a whole bunch of inside zone. And that's where they got a lot of their yardage was off the inside zone runs. The outside zone runs, they didn't do much because the guys are too stinking fast and could, cover ground, shoot a gap, get Jones, tackle him in the backfield. So run right at him. Like we talked about other times with other teams. And they've done this against this team before, virtually the same guys. I mean, the defense is virtually the same. So why not start there? Like run the ball at the Bears in the middle. Stay away from Mac. Let Mac run around. That's fine. Double team Hicks. Get a little movement. Go right at these linebackers because they're not that big. Peel off. Get some interference on Smith and see what you can do right up the gut. If they start there, they should be okay.
Bernard says Hicks might not play.
What? Ooh. Dang. Could we be so
if he
lucky?
Doesn't play, well, that's awesome.
That's nice. Drink to that.
Because that's your downfall in your run right at him plan, Jace. Because Hicks will destroy your run right at him plan.
All right, triple team him. I don't care. 3 guys.
Last time when the Packers ran the ball on the Bears, he wasn't in the game because he didn't play.
That's true. Dang.
Yeah. Okay. Think about that one.
Is Lindsley out? I know he hurt his back last week.
They're thinking he's going to be back. He's, I think he's questionable at this point. So,
what I'm wondering is Lucas Patrick was listed as the backup center, and then they had Jenkins come in and play center last week. So it's kind of odd to me that they moved Jenkins into center instead of Lucas Patrick when he was listed as a backup center.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure what that's all about either. I mean, because you would think Runyon is like backing up both guard spots. Not that he's exclusive to left guard.
Right. And he played right guard against the Vikings in week 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because Patrick has played
in that
center
play
many
right,
times.
Yeah. Because in that one, that was when somebody got hurt and they had to move Lucas Patrick in. Or no, Lucas Patrick was playing center in that game. Or no, he's playing left. I don't know. Something happened where guys were all hurt and whatever, and then he had to play. Because both tackles were out, right? Tackles were out, right? Because Jenkins was playing right tackle.
Yep.
Somehow Runyon Bunyan got in there at freaking right guard. I just know that much. I don't know where and why or who was where and whatever. Because Lane Taylor got hurt. And that's.
Do you eat a Funyun every time he makes a block too?
Runyon Bunyan? No, I didn't eat a Funyun anytime. I still got all those Funyuns. I didn't have any because I wasn't able to watch the freaking game.
Oh, you're saving them for this
Which is
week.
good because I would have probably blew my freaking face with anger.
Lee's got a good one. He says, it worries me, but it's a good one. He says, Turnstall Turner will get eaten up, whoever lines up there. Will we or should we see more 2 tight end sets? I think so. I think you'll see a lot more. And we probably should. I think they've been using quite a bit with Tunyon and Sternberger on the field a lot. And then they mix in like Sadie's. I don't know the full snap count from last week, but it seemed like Sadie's was in maybe like 30% of the snaps, something like that. He wasn't on nearly as much as he was in previous weeks. But I noticed a lot more. You're
seeing a lot more Tunyon and Sternberger if they go 2 tight end.
Yeah. And I thought Sternberger really impressed me actually with some of his blocking. I mean, I was out in the open field. I think he does a better job than a lot of guys handling, guys in open space because a lot of guys miss those blocks. He seems to at least run interference. You don't have to deck the guy every time. You just got to block him. You just got to get in his way. And he does a good job of that. I've been impressed with him.
I think he is doing better than Tunyon is at blocking for sure. Obviously Tunyon had the big gaff at the end of the game. But I still say that was a great play by Blackman, and it's probably a better play by Blackman than a weak block by Tunyon on that play. But the bigger question is, what is Jimmy Graham gonna do?
Oh, revenge for Jimmy Graham. Is anybody worried? Bernard, why aren't you worried about that? Put it in the chat. Ben's worried about it. Jimmy Graham. Browner?
That's what I'm not worried because he's good. I'm just worried that the fate of the Packer fates because they had him for 2 years and he stunk up the place. And then watch him go to the Bears, and then he'll be the reason why they win the freaking game. Watch, because he somehow does something right. All I know is this: when he pushes off in the end zone, they better call some freaking pass interference on him because he pushes off constantly in the end zone.
It's the only way he gets open. What do you got, Browner?
I was going to say, I guarantee you they're going to try to get him the ball near the end zone just for the revenge factor.
Yeah.
What if Jimmy Graham has a nice big drop that secures the win?
Oh, he will. I mean, he'll have drops too. But
what, like the Steelers? Who was that in the corner of the end zone back in the mid '90s?
Thigpen,
Yancey Thigpen, yeah.
That was the December Christmas gift.
Yeah, that's right. You can get a post Turkey Day gift from Jimmy Graham. Nice drop a touchdown pass late in the game. We hope it's not that close though. I don't need another nail biter or all this business. Like let's just run it down their throat and throw the ball around, light them up. Quick passes. The Packers have shown they can do it. They can do the Browner. This is why we have you on. The quick, rhythmic passing game. The Packers have shown they can do it. Why don't they do it more against, and especially here against the Bears, of a team with a good pass rush? Will they be smart enough to do it this week, Browner?
Well, I think.
Be honest, Browner. Will they be smart enough?
I think the key is they've got to get it to Jones more with quick pitches to the outside, or if it's going to be the quick passing game, it's the swing passes to him to get to those Bears linebackers, like you said, because I think Jones and those guys can outrun them. Now, if MVS is hurt, then hopefully they're smart and they go to the quick passing game with Lazard and Adams and the tight ends, because that can give our defense a little bit more of a break, and then we can get after their offense a little bit too. But I think if they're smart, yes. I don't know. I don't know if they got that deep threat this game if MVS is out, and it might force their hand a little bit.
One thing I think it's different is this game, for the first time in the previous two home games. Remember, there was like 40, 30 mile an hour winds and stuff that were pretty wild. I don't think they're supposed to be a factor this week, so that hopefully should help, the downfield passing game regardless of the quarter and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, their last two home games have been crazy winds, and it's just, I think it's equaled the playing field for both the Vikings and the Jaguars. So I think they're letting some fans in this week too. Not like fans, but like players, family and friends and stuff like that, I heard. So there'll be some noise in the stadium, I guess. And Rodgers came out this week and said he wants them to play more of the, like the ding, 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 ding. And then, he wants more of the real Lambeau experience, even if there aren't fans or not many fans in there. He doesn't feel it's been that way.
He wants to bring back some of the oldies and goodies back for you. Maybe they'll play the Bears Still Suck at the end too. You never know.
They probably won't.
No, probably not. But they can play, Roll Out the Barrel and some of that other good stuff and all that.
I don't want to work. Just want to bang.
Yeah, they should have been playing that every time they scored a touchdown, whether there's fans there or not. That's the song. I mean, I don't get why they didn't do it. But I mean,
trying to hip it up or something. I don't know.
The thing that's different this year from last year is the Bears have a rookie corner. I don't know I can't remember what his name is, but number 33, who has been playing pretty good. So now instead of having just one guy, in Fuller, who doesn't have great hands. This guy also doesn't have any interceptions this year, by the way. This 33. He's got a lot of pass defenses, and he's aggressive and plays tough. So, in the past, they kind of had, they had Jackson at safety who kind of made plays here and there, right? And then they had their defensive line, with Hicks and Mack, and their front seven is good, but then their secondary was maybe a little bit weaker, but they played aggressive and they didn't have to cover for that long because their front seven was so good. Now they've got corners who are aggressive and breaking passes up, as well as the front seven getting to the quarterback and stopping the run and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, they're even better. Like, they haven't given up more than 23 points all year, I guess, in any game, no matter who they're playing. So, I mean, the Packers offense can be awesome. We've seen that many times this year. But it can also stall out and kind of stink up the joint, especially when they don't or they aren't able to control the pass rush and or the run defense, where they just don't come off the ball fast. And a lot of it is these RPOs or run pass options or whatever it is, because the offensive line is doing that zone, blocking scheme, moving to one side. They can't go downfield enough to be aggressive, but they're being aggressive to the side, blah, blah, blah. And then Rodgers decides where to go with that. And when you play against a good defensive front, they're going to disrupt that. And that's the Bears' defensive line. They're going to disrupt it. So that's why, like when you said run at them, I think we just need to do more double team blocks at the point of attack on running plays, and double team or chips on releases from the tight ends and any running backs to help out the edges. And if those things don't happen, I honestly think it's going to be bad. Because the Packers have shown they cannot pick up blitzes. They cannot see who's coming until it's too late. They don't know what's going on. They'll send out too many guys in the pattern, even though they can see a guy coming or not come, whatever, and they don't adjust to it. They don't make the play. Rodgers has no time. Rodgers will look at one guy too long instead of coming off of it. And then even if the guys do kind of block for a little bit, by the time he comes off that first read and tries to get to the second or third read, that's all messed up. And then there's a guy at his face and he's done. And he's sacked and he's running for his life. So this is a bad matchup, I'm telling you. And it sounds stupid because it's the Bears and they suck. But their defense is really damn good. Their special teams is really damn good. Their offense is really crappy. But our offense is great. Our special teams sucks. And our defense is inconsistent at best. And the last thing we needed was freaking Nick Foles to get hurt and Mitch Trubisky to come in. And that's the issue, or the thing I'm worried about.
You're worried about Christian Kirksey trying to catch him, right? Because he's shown
he's not
he
gonna
can't catch anybody. He's really slow.
The only thing and Montgomery's back this week, apparently. They're running back. Who he's been out for a couple weeks. So now maybe they don't have a good run blocking offensive line. But let's face it, the Packers aren't very good at stopping the run anyway. So, what's going to happen there? I don't know. I honestly think the Packers can stop their run game no matter what, because their offensive line is really bad. It's not like playing the Vikings. Like, the Vikings are a good running team, and they destroyed us, and that's the way it was. And the Jaguars, Robinson had proved all year that he was a good running back, and they had a good running scheme the whole year. And the Bears stink. So like I told you the other day, if the Bears move the ball on us and score points on us, Benton needs to go after this game, because there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to stop him. And the only thing that makes a difference is the Mitch Trubisky factor, if he somehow figures it out. Because to be honest, for the last 2-3 years, I believe that Nagy hasn't taken the training wheels off of him. And that's how the Packers came back when the Rodgers got hurt and came back at halftime and scored all those points to take the victory in the beginning of the season in 2018, was because they didn't let Trubisky do anything in the whole second half. So because they were worried he was going to screw it up, and he just did nothing. And then Rodgers went nuts because he sat in the pocket and he read the freaking defense and he passed to the open guy. instead of waiting too long and running like a ding dong because he couldn't do that. So what is that's what's the key, guys. I'm as scared as Eckes and Bernard.
Dang.
And I'm worried.
Don't be scared.
I was more confident in the Packers kicking the Colts' butt last week than I am in this week. The Packers having a chance to kick the crap out of the Bears, just because of all the things I said.
I mean, it's probably going to be tight. It's probably going to end up being a close game because that seems to happen way too much with division opponents. And the Bears, because of the Bears' defense, they'll probably give them some fits for sure. But Brown, if that's the case, and the Bears' offensive line is that bad, then don't you think that Kenny Clark, big money Kenny Clark, Zadarius Smith, they have to dominate. They have to be disruptive and dominate in this game. Don't you think?
Yeah, if they don't dominate, then it's part of the scheme too. I agree, Ben, that it's time to think about what's Pettine's role on this team and if he sticks around. As I heard Ben talking there too, I'm just going to sidetrack here, Jason, for a second, is what teams that have great defenses, and I think Chicago is or close to that with this, we've had a hard time adjusting to them in the second half. And I know you guys have talked about that. I know that's something you've broken down, but I mean, that's listening a little bit to the Bill Michaels show and some other shows this week where they talked about the Packers, was just that, the Buccaneers from like midway second quarter on, the Colts, the Vikings, where, they're becoming a better defense because of their coaching. And when it's close at halftime and we've got to make adjustments to make better decisions on offense and even some cases on defense, we don't seem very good at that. And so what I'm interested in seeing is that if this is a close game in the first half, can LaFleur, along with Rodgers, Ken Pettin, along with that D-line, make a difference in the second half and actually pull away with a game that they should, because it's the Bears. And that front 4 to 7 better tear it up on Sunday nights, and Penton better have them ready to play, or it's time to look elsewhere. Maybe Johnny Gray.
Ooh, Johnny Gray, nice. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. Give you a little treat. It was a request. It's a request by Bruce and Eckes and others who knew of this recording. It's the only time you've ever heard the Hafeman brothers sing country style. And this was a song we had to do for Eckes' wedding. And I said, let's try the ultra emotional country version of this, because Eckes gave us like 3 country songs to sing for his wedding. And then it was like, just don't make them sound country. So we didn't when we actually sang them for his wedding, but he also wanted recordings of them. So we made recordings, and we made this recording as a joke for him and then sent it to him. It was like, oh, is this what you meant? But anyway, when we did it, I came up with the idea to do it, and Ben was like, that's a terrible idea. I don't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. Usually what he says is most of my ideas. But the point is, we went for it, and Ben's like, we're doing it. That's it. Fine, we'll do it. But we're doing it in one take. I'm like, fine, I can do it in one take. No problem. Let's do it. So I've been practicing to sing country style my whole life. And now we're going to share it with you. And when we come back after this little treat, we're going to talk about and examine what could be the key to this game coming up. So hang with us. Here it comes. Ready? Oh, man. I'll share my computer sound. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Look at the two of you dancing that way, lost in the moment in each other's face. So much in love, you're alone in this place, like there's nobody else in the world. I was enough for her not long ago. I was her number one. She told me so, and she still means the world to me, just so you know. So be careful when you hold my girl. Time changes everything, life must go on, and I'm not gonna stand in your way. But I loved her first, I held her first, and that place in my heart will always be hers. From the first breath she breathed, when you first smiled at me, I knew the love of a father runs deep, and I pray that she'd find you someday. But it's still hard to give her away. I loved her first. How could that beautiful woman with you be the same freckle-faced kid that I knew? The one that I read all those fairy tales to, and tucked in the bed all those nights. I knew the first time I saw you with her, it was only a matter of time. 'Cause I loved her first, I held her first, the place in my heart will always be hers. From the first breath she breathed, when she first smiled at me, I knew the love of a father runs deep. I pray that she'll find you someday, but it's still hard to give her away. I loved her first. From the first breath she breathed, when she first smiled at me, I knew the love of a father runs deep. Someday you might know what I'm going through, when a miracle smiles up at you. I loved her first.
There you go.
Man, that was worse than I ever remembered it being, to be honest.
I actually counted. One of the key things in singing country is that you hold out consonants instead of vowel sounds a lot of times.
Yep, that's what I
So
did.
we actually held out the consonant R 24 times in that song.
Well, yeah, I loved her first. And I did a couple cracks in there on purpose.
You had some really good stylized. I was impressed. I was impressed.
There you go, Browner. What do you think of that, Browner? Pretty amazing, huh?
That was some special country music for sure, boys.
Oh my God. All right. The thing we should all be most concerned about, even though we talk about other stuff, is the special teams. All right. Yikes. The Packers have talked about it. They've given up a punt return touchdown. They've fumbled on their own returns have been terrible. They've fumbled. They've not gotten any yards. Teams are actually, they've acknowledged, and they're talking about it. Teams have actually been kicking off short to them to force their returners to return the ball so they can't take the cheap touchback. Like, this is the biggest concern to me, is the special teams, because in a close game, one miscue, a touchdown given up, whatever, that can flip it. So I don't know, Brown, any observations, things that the Packers hopefully have realized and can do differently? Like what? I don't know. Help us out.
Well, I think that's a definite trend. Is you've seen that the last two games where those kickers are trying to put it in the corner at about the 3 to 5 yard line. And obviously it's worked for field position. It worked with the turnover. And yeah, it's, and then the coverage hasn't been great, punt or kickoff. So with Patterson, there's that. I think Patterson, you got to try to not give him a chance, or maybe Crosby works on that little kick too, where he's got to come up and kind of stop field it instead of getting that momentum. I think that's probably what they're seeing is that our returners and our return guy, well, it's probably like the coverage, because a lot of those guys that are playing in the defensive backfield, that they kick that short kick, and those guys that are going back there to block aren't set. They're not set, so they're playing off their hind feet and the not getting ahead with the block, so there's somewhere for the returner to go. So it's very similar.
Yeah, Sean Menenga was talking about that this week. He's the Sean that's currently the Packers special teams head coach. He said that with those short kickoffs, that's something they've had to adjust to, and they're trying to get their guys to adjust to, which is those guys that are going back to block have to then turn around, set quicker, and be ready to engage, because they're not, and then there's no chance for a return. And that returner, if he gets a little sloppy with the ball or gets a hit from, if you got like one guy hitting you, fine. But a lot of times in those special team situations, you're trying to run. There's a whole bunch of guys, and if they don't get engaged with, and you got guys come from different angles, it's a lot easier for somebody to knock the ball out or take you down when you don't expect it or whatever. So those are definite issues. The returners aren't great, and they haven't been great, other than Irvin's pretty good, but he's still questionable with the ribs and the wrist. So if he's not back and it's Darius Shepard again or whatever, I mean, they got to find ways to protect the guys, and they have to adjust. So hopefully they worked on it enough this week. The blocking is a major issue. People in the chat are talking about the blocking. Lee pointed it out. Blocking is key for special teams. It is. Ben mentioned that in our last show, how awesome the blockers were and how great those four guys in those mid-90s teams were. And that's why Desmond Howard ended up being so great of a returner and got a bunch of big money from the Raiders. Sorry, Rick. He wasn't as good for you, but you didn't have the same blockers. But that just happens. Like it's a whole big thing. But it's really interesting to me that teams have identified this as a serious weakness for the Packers, because most teams are like, oh, kick it off as far as you can, let it drop in the end zone. We don't have to worry about the return. But teams are saying, nope, let's make these guys return it, because we think we can stop them from getting to the 25, and we might get a big play out of it, or maybe force a fumble. I mean, that's like a flashing light. Like, hey, you better work on this and fix it, because it's other teams have identified it. They're trying to take advantage of it. The punt coverage and the coverage problems, seriously, are just a matter of discipline. Like, stay in your freaking lane. Everybody has a job on that. Like, you're supposed to run down the field, stay in your lane. And you saw in the 1 punt return, they had 4 guys lined up in a row. It should never be the case. That's simple coaching and mechanics, and just staying in your lane and be disciplined. That fixes that problem. Even if you're not a great tackler, at least you're not giving them anywhere to go. But Patterson's a bit of a different story too. He's a beast. He can break tackles. He's fast. If he sees a crease, he'll hit it. Ben, you saw him a whole bunch because you've seen the Vikings enough too when he was there. But he's a dangerous guy for sure. And so both ends, the Packers trying to cover and the Packers trying to return, are worrisome to me on kicks and punts.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of the scariest things as a Packer fan, because you honestly don't know what's going to happen. Every kickoff, every punt, whether it's us kicking or them kicking and us receiving, you're like, just hang on to the ball. Just catch it. Okay. And then as soon as a guy gets close to him, we're like, just go down and don't fumble. Like, every time. That's all I'm thinking. Like, I'm not even thinking of, like, let's get a great return here, guys. No, let's just not screw it up, guys. And when you know that as a fan, you're thinking that, you're right. All the other teams see it and know it and attack it and want you to do something dumb with the ball, which is what the Packers have shown to do over the years, whether it was Sean Menenga or whether it's Squeeze 'em or whoever the hell it is. It didn't matter. And I mean, the only time we ever did anything good on special teams was the Tom Crabtree fake against the Bears on a fake punt or fake kickoff or fake kick for a touchdown against the Bears that one time. That was awesome. But that's like the last time I can think of anything good that the Packers did as far as a return or a special teams play, as far as like doing something awesome anyways. Again, the 90s teams, dang. Remember Walter Stanley would do all this crazy crap, like run backwards 15 yards just to get 20 yards in the first play, or 2 yards. You know, he'd run, I don't know, he'd get like 5 yards, but it was like the awesomest 5-yard run you ever saw and all that kind of stuff. And Terrell Buckley was actually kind of good at that stuff for a while. He fumbled every time or every other time, but he was still ran around and it was exciting. Like we haven't had a guy who can like just do something. And it's because we don't value it in the draft or anything. And every year, like even in this offseason, and I hate to go back to the draft and I hate to be a stink face, but
Well, they're not getting any.
there was a guy, Jonathan Hightower, who was a very good receiver, kind of a little bit raw, but he was a great kickoff punt return guy. He was a third round-ish draft pick type guy. Okay. But he could have filled the slot receiver role, and he was a great returner. And as much as they had Tyler Urban back and they said, okay, Tyler Urban's going to be the answer, it doesn't hurt to have another guy who can do it. I mean, come on. But the Packers haven't even had one guy who can do it for like 12 years. So that's something that needs to be addressed. These guys need to, like, it's a key part of the game. And as much as, like, even us fans, like, even we haven't talked much about special teams in all these episodes we've done. Even though the Packers stink, that's probably why, because we don't want to talk about it. We just want to ignore it. But it's a thing that can really derail games, as we saw in the last 2 weeks. We almost lost the Jaguars game because of it, and we did lose the Colts game, as I think because one of the times because of that, where we needed to get the ball, we needed to stop the bleeding, and all it did was lead to more bleeding. And if it doesn't get solved after this week, that's another issue. And the Bears are like I said, they're a bad matchup for this. So you have to put pinpoint accuracy on this sort of thing. They have to spend time on this thing. And LaFleur needs to get in there with all these other guys. Like, I don't know what LaFleur does during the week. Somebody said earlier this week, I heard them say that they don't think that LaFleur has anything to do with the defense or really anything to do with the special teams. And like a little bit, but like he kind of just lets them do their thing and then he concentrates on the offense. But he's the head coach and he needs to get in there with these guys and come up with a plan with them and look at the plays and look at the film and be like, listen, this isn't working. Is there anything else we can do? And find ways to do it. And if he's not doing that, then we got a problem. That's his job. He's the head freaking coach. He's not the offensive coordinator. That's Nathaniel Hackett. So that's what I want to see too. Because every press conference for the last how long with LaFleur, we talk about the defense. He talks about being more aggressive. He talks about covering better. He talks about not being so far off on the coverages and stuff like that. And on the special teams, he talks about, oh, we got to be better and blah, blah, blah. Okay. But you're not better. So are you doing your job as a head coach, getting in there with these coaches and teaching what needs to be taught so we can get going and not stink on defense and on special teams? Because the offense seems to be okay. So move your focus. You're the head coach. And I like LaFleur. I think he's good. But he's got to do it. He's got to get with the coaches on both special teams and defense, I think, and spend more time with them. And in between, when the defense is on the field, instead of going and talking to Rodgers about things for like the whole freaking time or whatever it is, I think he should be paying attention to the game and having his ear with Pettin and asking him what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And I don't know if he's doing that. Somebody said that it seems like every time that when the defense is on the field, LaFleur is talking to Rodgers or LaFleur is working with the offense. And he's not the offense coordinator. And that's the crap that McCarthy would do. So I don't know. I just think it's go ahead, Browner.
I was going to say, Nagy came out this week in Chicago and said that he just gave up the offensive coordinator thing so he could be in those rooms more because he didn't feel like he was being a good head coach. And so, maybe that's something that LaFleur needs to do a little bit more too. I think it comes down to assignments. I think we've got maybe guys out there that aren't doing their assignments or it just doesn't seem like they're in the right place. Or they're, as Jay, as you said earlier, that, just do your job. They should be good enough to at least do their job so it doesn't look so bad all the time. And Lee brings up that there's been some guys maybe hurt on special teams to his recollection. Not that that should be an excuse, but it's been getting progressively worse. So is that the guys that are out there or the scheme or a little bit of both? But I think on that, when they're returning kicks, the guys don't seem to be getting back in time to then set themselves and make the block. When they're covering kicks and punts, they don't seem to follow their assignments, and all of a sudden there's a huge gap. And a guy like Patterson can exploit that this week big time. So better be ready. And Ben, I agree. I think LaFleur is the head coach. And I know he really values his offense, but he needs to stick his nose in the special teams room and the defense room and make sure these coaches are doing their jobs too. Otherwise, ultimately, it could be him. I mean, I'm not saying they're anywhere close to that. I like LaFleur too, but I think he needs to do his role too.
Yeah, it's interesting how much he's talked about the defense. He talked about the defense last year. He talked when they were giving up all the big plays, and he harped on that. This year, he's been talking about the run defense. He's at multiple times during press conferences where he's going on and on about good defenses, especially run defense. They flow to the ball, all this sort of stuff. And with I think he gets a little bit away from it because the kicking generally is still, which most people think about as special teams, is still pretty solid, with Mason and J.K. Scott's been pretty good, little less good lately, but whatever. But I mean, just the coverage units and the blocking units and return stuff. It's just like, man, come on. I mean, this is an issue with your team where improvements could be made, and that's where some of your focus has to go. So yeah, I think hopefully he's picked that up this week. At least they're talking more about it. But I think the main reason the media's asked them about it is because of how dangerous the Bears specials are, especially with Patterson and stuff like that. But either way, they better have their heads in the game and special teams assignments. Like when you see a play like that were with the Jaguars punt return where four guys are lined up in a row and they're supposed to be in lanes, to me, that's it's players, letting their eyes focus too much on one thing and then just getting out of position instead of thinking, okay, I got to stay here. Because even though the guy's 10 yards to my left, I got to attack him from my lane so he doesn't all of a sudden cut back and jump over here and then there's a big hole. Like, that's how you have to approach it. So regardless of who's in there, that's what they got to be thinking. And it has to happen, or Patterson could easily have a touchdown return this week, and that could be the difference in the game. And then it's a one-game lead over the Bears, and you still got to play them again later in the year. So hopefully that's not the case. Now, that's most of what I got. I know you guys have all seen all the other stuff. Rodgers is 19-5 in his career against the Bears, 201st or 202nd meeting or whatever the heck it is, longest rivalry in the history of the blah, 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 all this stuff. Great. We understand all that stuff. So we weren't going to rehash all that in our show.
Well, one more thing. If the Packers win, this will be the 100th win against the Bears.
That is nice. That's right. It's 99.
That's kind of cool.
99, 95, and I forget how many ties, 33 ties or something like that.
33? Really?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.
It can't be 33.
Math wasn't one of my strong points.
Well, I mean, it could be, but I mean, good luck. 33 ties is a lot of ties.
Whatever. 3. Maybe it's 3.
Well, I got some. Hey, I don't know when you want to do it, but I've got Ben's top 10 quarterbacks redone.
Oh, you still got it? Okay. All right.
Whenever you want to do that, I'm ready to get into that. Also,
I didn't know we were doing that tonight. We should have done our pre-show talk.
Yeah, so we can do that. The other thing I was thinking was, now I lost my brain's farts. Well, it was something else.
Should we let Browner go before we do that, or does he want to stick around?
Maybe Browner wants to put his 2 cents in there. He knows what's going on.
He probably wants to tear apart your top 10 list for quarterback.
I'll stick around. I'll just say Leroy Butler for Hall of Fame. Let's make
that's the other one. That's the one.
Oh, okay. Wait. I got one other quick share since we got. That's right. Leroy Butler, if you're not paying attention, Butler and Chucky Woodson are both finalists or semifinalists. Is that what it was right now? Semifinalists.
Yep.
Semifinalists. Here's one other interesting note before we get into Ben's stuff. Sorry, I thought I was going to go to bed. We'll keep going. That's fine. I got something for you. Now, here's a good question. Ben and Browner. There are currently 2 Packers. So Pro Bowl voting started this week. There are currently 2 Packers who lead their position groups in votes. Do you know who those 2 Packers are?
Like current voting, like for
Yes.
this year's Hall of
Yep.
Fame.
Yep. No. For the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. Did I specify that or did I not even say it? Pro Bowl voting. Started this week.
Pro
There are
Bowl,
currently
sorry.
two Packers leading their positions in votes.
Corey Linsley and David Bakhtiari.
I'd say Bakhtiari
And Zadarius Smith.
and
He's
Adam.
got 8 sacks.
You can't go again. Well, Bakhtiari is one of them. I'm gonna show you who they are. Ready? This is gonna. Here you go. Right here, guys. David Bakhtiari and the Packers long snapper, Hunter Bradley. Hunter Bradley, baby. Those are the 2 Packers that are leading in Pro Bowl voting at their positions.
Well, maybe our special teams is good then. Apparently, we got the best long snapper in the league.
I don't know how. I mean, he must have like a huge family or something. I don't know how the hell like a long snapper gets the most votes from anybody, but there you go. All right, go with whatever you want to. Ben's top 10s.
Oh, I was going to say this. This week on Cheesehead TV's Packer Transplant Wednesday night show, Nagler finally, after all this time, went off on the why Leroy Butler should be in the Hall of Fame. And I just have to say, back in February, there was another show that already did that and had more stats. Well, about the same amount of stats. It was a little more aggressive in the way he said it. So check out Hafeman Brothers, episode 22. Hafeman Brothers Talking Packers, episode 22 from back in February. It's a great one. And it talks about the Packers, Leroy Butler, and Mike Holmgren, and why both of them should be in the Hall of Fame. And why it's a shame that other players and coaches from the same timeline or similar stats are all in or got in last year, and those 2 guys in particular did not, as well as Sterling Sharp should be in. It's a bunch of crap because he was the most dominant player at his position pretty much every year he played. Better than Jerry Rice.
Leroy baffles me because I think in the 90s he was one of the best, if not the best, safety in football. That's my opinion, and I know I'm a little skewed on a Packer fan, but Butler should be in the Hall of Fame.
It's one of those things, Browner, where even as Packer fans, Jason said this. Actually, I listened to that episode, just the start of it a little bit, and something Jason said. He was like, I guess I didn't give Butler his respect back then. I guess I didn't notice all the, because we went over the stats, and he's like, man, I guess I didn't realize how good he was back then. I mean, I knew he was making plays and doing stuff, but he wasn't the type of guy who, he wasn't a big hitter at strong safety. He was a kind of a, he was a corner. They drafted him as a corner, and he started the first couple years in the league as corner, but he was too slow. And they drafted T-Buck, and then they moved him to safety. And then all of a sudden at safety, he started making plays and doing stuff. And that was awesome. But it was different because he had the corner mentality as in cover skills that way. But when he moved to safety, he was able to play around the line of scrimmage and do things a lot of other players had never done before with blitzing. Troy Polamalu pretty much owes his career to Leroy Butler because Butler was the first guy to do all that kind of stuff. And all the stats show it. So just go back, episode 22, Hafeman Brothers. You have to go way, way down because we've had about 500 episodes since then. But that was back when we had no video. It was just talking, and I was on the phone, and so it's not as good video quality. Well, my videos quality always stinks because I got even all the time. Pisses me off because of Minnesota. Whatever. But episode 22, it's a good one. We should probably bring that up one more time. Maybe bring it back to the link and just cut that one part out about Leroy or whatever. But I just thought it was interesting because Nagler went off about it this week because obviously Leroy's back on the thing this year. And it was a concern that he brought up was that, hey, now that Charles Woodson is available too, and he was a defensive player of the year, is that even going to make it harder for Leroy to get in now? Because here's another Packer defensive back who was a defensive player of the year, and it was probably going to make it before Leroy makes it now because of that. And that's a real concern. That's kind of sad.
Woodson's a lock. It depends what they want.
Well, yeah.
Do with
Well, he might be first ballot, but that's what they're saying. They're like, does that push Leroy back more because the voters are going to be like, well, we can't put another Packer defensive back in. They're just after Woodson gets in, and then Leroy's got to wait another 5 years before he can finally get in. And then by that point, he's past the point where he can get in, and then they have to make him one of this special, old guy
legacy.
Yeah,
one of their legacy picks.
Yeah, like Jerry Kramer. That's how he finally got in. So I mean, those are concerns, and they're good concerns, I think, because I can see that happening because it's a bunch of crap.
Bernard's trying to ignite me here. He's saying Kevin King, Hall of Famer, Steve Smith, Hall of Famer. Bernard, it's not going to work tonight.
Then he put Ben needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, Bernard, you just compare. You know what? I like Bernard, but now he making me mad. He just compared me to Kevin King and Zadarius Smith. Really?
Well, if you could compare your bank accounts to theirs, you'd be pretty good shape.
Especially Zadarius Smith. He's making $21 million next year.
Woo! That's a lot. Hey,
come on, Bernard. I'm better than those two.
Then he says Breeze is not a Hall of Famer.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know about that. He probably is. But that's the other point, right? You got all these old quarterbacks, all these other apparently Phillip Rivers, according to Joe Buck and Aikman, a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer. Matt Stafford's Hall of Famer. So these guys, these are what people are saying. This is what people are saying. I don't think it's true, but whatever.
Maybe
but as those guys get eligible, does that make it? There's less spots. They're not gonna. I don't know. Does Butler get pushed? I mean, how many times does he get pushed? I don't know.
Well, that's the scary part too. Is
it sucks.
Guess what? It's way easier to get all these numbers as a quarterback now.
Mm-hmm.
So all these guys look great. I mean, Matt Ryan's stats look amazing. Compare him to freaking Marino and, Jim Kelly and all these guys from then back in the day when they had when receivers were getting chucked downfield and beat the crap out of them the whole time. And, like all these receivers that have all these numbers and crap over the last couple of years, put them back in that time. Sterling Sharp would have destroyed all these guys.
Ooh, Sterling was so good.
Sterling Sharp was 5,000 times better than all those guys.
God, he was so good.
We don't want to get into that. You can go back and listen to those episodes. They're great.
Okay. Lee says one quick thing before you go on. Lee made his guess for the Packers leading their position groups were Jair and Devontae Adams. Sorry, man. It's Hunter Bradley, long snapper. All right, go on, Ben.
All right, here we go. Are you ready? Ben's. Okay, last time I did Ben's top 20 quarterbacks. And I do have the top 20 listed here, but I'm just going to do the top 10. This is the updated top 10 based on my opinion after 10 weeks of football. Okay. I'm going to start at one. No, I'm just going to say a couple guys that didn't make the top 10. Give them honorable mentions. Okay. Kirk Cousins dropped out of my top 10. He was number 8 last time. He's got a 102.7 quarterback rating. You wouldn't think that considering that he has 11 interceptions this year. But he is still a really good, he can pass the ball. I mean, you give him time, he'll carve you up. It's just he's made a lot of boneheaded plays this year, and it cost the Vikings some games. And because of that, I can't keep him in the top 10, even though I do think he's a very good quarterback. But this year he's been stinking it up. And he's got 20 touchdowns and 11 picks. But he's got 102.7 quarterback rating, so you got to give him an honorable mention, right? My other one is Dak Prescott. If he would have been available the whole year, he probably still would have been in my top 10. He dropped out. He was number 9. He's now lower.
He was making that McCarthy offense run, man.
He was. They were moving the ball, and he got hurt, and then they weren't winning games, but he was still doing awesome. Yeah,
and the Tatooine Sandcrawlers, he was making them roll, and now they've been like 1-5 since he got hurt. So
I'm with you, Browner. He was lighting them up for me in fantasy too. I was really sad when Dak got down because
I'm so sorry for you guys.
Dang it!
He had 3
magic.
He had 3 rushing touchdowns and only played like 4 games or something. I mean, come on, that's awesome. All right, another guy dropped out. Tom Brady was in the top 10 last time. He was number 7. He's now dropped out. He was number 12 now. Mostly because he's been inconsistent. He's had some good games. He's had some stink games. But he's still Tom Brady. But the reason why I dropped out is because if the play doesn't work, he's got no after-the-play ability. Like, he just can't do anything. So, had to drop him out. And then the last guy at number 11 was at number 12. and he moved up one. And that's because his team is undefeated, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. I've never been a Ben Roethlisberger fan. But when you got 24 touchdowns and only 5 picks and your team is undefeated, I got to give you at least an honorable mention at 11. And he's been playing great. And the Steelers have not lost. So, hey, he's got it. If your quarterback is on the team is undefeated, you got to be pretty good. But he's not in the top 10. Okay, so here we go. Here's the top 10. I'll start with 1 and going down because everybody knows what 1 is.
Before you start, I might have to kick off because my battery's going haywire. And so if you lose me, it's been awesome. Go Packers. But I'll listen for as long as
do you want to do a
Browner, give us a score first.
A score, a prediction or anything?
Let's go 24-10.
Oh. Wow, you're more confident than I am in that. I'll tell you that.
Ooh, I like it. Put the clamps down on him.
All right, I will say this: there are no Bears in my top 10 quarterbacks. That's for sure. Okay,
thanks,
back
Brown.
to the top 10. All right, number 1. My number 1 quarterback is the same as the last time. It's Pat Mahomes. The guy's freaking nuts. He does all kinds of crazy crap. I mean, he's got 27 touchdowns passing, 2 rushing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, both against the Raiders. Rick, plug for you, bro. He got a 114.3 quarterback rating. He's killing it. His team's only got 1 loss, and it's to the Raiders. Other than that, they're great. Okay, number 2 quarterback was number 4 last time. He's jumped up 2 spots. He's got a quarterback rating of 115.8, which is the highest quarterback rating in the NFL. He's got 1 rushing touchdown, only 4 picks, and 29 touchdowns. That is our boy, number 12, Aaron Rodgers, number 2 quarterback in the freaking NFL after 10 weeks of the NFL season this year. He looks good. He's making pretty good decisions. Sometimes he locks in on Devontae a little too much, but for the most part, he's killing it, and he's the reason why the Pack got 7 wins this year. He's doing great. All right, my number 3 quarterback was 2 back in June when I did this list. But he's dropped to 3 because he's been a little turnover prone, and he's kind of cost his team. He was the high MVP. Everybody wanted him to be the MVP this year. But when you got 10 picks and a bunch of fumbles, don't matter that you got 30 touchdowns. That's Russell Wilson. He dropped from 2 to 3, but he's still scary as hell. And that's part of the reason why a lot of these guys in the top 10 made it above Roethlisberger and Brady and Cousins and Prescott and all that. Because if the Packers defense had to face him, I'd be scared to death. And Wilson is another one of those guys where I would die if they had to play him. Like, I'd be scary as hell. All right, what do you guys think of that? Top 3. Got any opinions at this point? Mahomes, number 1. Rodgers, number 2. Wilson, number 3. Pretty honest, pretty good, right? Browner's up with it. Jason's up with it. Okay. Here we go. This is the big. There's a couple guys on this list that had they came from out of nowhere and jumped up.
I was going to plug Herbert in there in front of Wilson, but.
Okay, just calm down. There's a couple guys in here that really jumped up. There's 2 guys that jumped up 10 spots from last time, or from June. Okay, and here's one of them right now. One from 14 all the way to 4. This guy is the scariest quarterback in the NFL right now, in my opinion. You don't know quite what you're going to get, but he played a game against Russell Wilson, and when I watched the game, he made Russell Wilson look like he was running on the beach, and he was running on like the fastest turf of all time, and that's Kyler Murray. He's just scarier than crap. He's super fast. He's super agile. He makes everybody miss, and he scares the bejesus out of me. Now, he's only got a 98.7 quarterback rating, but he's a young guy. He's got 19 passing touchdowns with 8 picks. But here's the key. He's got 619 rushing yards this year in 10 games and 10 rushing touchdowns at quarterback. He has double the next quarterback in rushing touchdowns so far this year. The next guy has got 5. And after that, just a lot of like 3s and 2s and 1s. So he's just destroyed everybody on the ground as well as through the air. And he's probably the scariest guy I've seen. But because he's got sometimes his balls are a little off. Plus, he's like 5'2" or whatever he is. He's super short. Can't see over the freaking offensive lineman. So he's got to run around to make a play. So that's why he's that number 4. But still, he went from 14 to 4. That's a pretty big jump. My number 5 quarterback is a guy who I wasn't sure if he was going to even play this year. He came from out of nowhere. He wasn't on my top 20 last in June. But here he is at number 5. He's got 104.7 quarterback rating. He's got 22 touchdowns passing with only 6 picks and 3 rushing touchdowns. And he's a starter on my fantasy football team. That's Justin Herbert, baby. That's the guy. That's the guy who I said, if you go back to our pre-game before the draft, and everybody's talking about Joe Burrow, and I was like, oh no. Justin Herbert is freaking amazing. Because when I watched the combine, and I was like, look at this guy throw. Good God, he's amazing. Look at him run. Holy crap, he's fast. He's 6'6", and he runs like that. He moves like that, and he throws like that. Then I went back and watched some Oregon games, and I was like, this doesn't look quite the same. But, man, that combine looked insane. And he was the one guy where if the Packers would have moved up and drafted a quarterback in the first round, I would have been like, okay, Herbert, I get it. He looks insane. Awesome. And when you watch him play, his ball, when he throws that deep ball, it just sails. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Like he could throw freaking 70 yards like it's nothing. He looks like Rodgers from 2012. So Herbert's my number 5. Yeah, his team stinks, but he's freaking awesome. So I can't keep him out of the top 5. He's too damn good. Number 5.
Hold on, Browner. What do you think of Herbert?
I think he's pretty. I'd put him ahead of Murray. I don't know if I'd put those two guys that high. I think I'll see what else you got coming there, but Herbert he's impressive. I mean, I've only got to watch him a couple of times, but then you look at the stats and everything each week, he's good.
It's just your eyes don't when you watch the game and you watch the film, it's like the ball just looks insane. And he doesn't make too many bad decisions. A lot of times his picks are because of, once in a while he'll do something stupid, but for a rookie to only have 6 picks in 10 games or 9 games because he didn't play the first game, and 22 passing and 3 rushing, and he's just playing great. He's playing great. And his head coach didn't even believe in him at the beginning of the year. So whatever. All right. Here's my number 6 quarterback. He jumped up. He was number 11. So he's just out of the top 10 back in June. Now he's number 6. He's got a 108.7 quarterback rating, which is in the top 5. He's the number 4 quarterback, highest quarterback rating at this point in the year. And the reason why is because he doesn't have as many touchdowns because he's got a running back on his team who kind of gets all the balls. He's kind of like Matt Hasselbeck, where Hasselbeck had Sean Alexander stealing all those touchdown runs, or like Aaron Rodgers last year, where Aaron Jones got all the touchdown runs, right? But this guy, man, he has been playing great this year. He can see what the defense is doing and adjust. He can go through his reads like a madman. 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw. 1, 2, throw. Boom. He throws a big deep dot bomb. He throws the freaking check down. He throws to the tight ends. He throws to the slot receiver. It's Derek Carr of the Raiders. Just for you, Rick. Number 6 quarterback. Jumps from 11 to 6. Derek Carr got 19 touchdowns. There's only 3 picks. The only team that can beat the freaking Chiefs is the Raiders. And it's because Derek Carr is having a great year. And he's buying into the freaking John Gruden and making great plays. And he looks like a freaking stud. He looks like the man out there.
You got
He's in the top 6.
He's got some sketchy weapons too with Nelson Aguilar, who's like, he's like a 40-60 catcher. He'll catch it 40% of the time, drop it 60% of the time. He'll make some good catches, but man, he drops some easy ones.
Their tight end's really good too.
They do.
Yeah, Darren Waller's the man.
Waller's good. And Derek Carr is my replacement fantasy quarterback, so he's doing pretty good.
Well, and they got Hunter Renfrow as a sneaky slot guy who makes catches on third down when they need him. I mean, and they got Jacobs out of the backfield. They got a great team, and he knows what he's doing. He knows to get the ball to the right guys. He's doing great. He's doing great. He has 0 rushing touchdowns, though. Like I said, Jacobs is getting all the touchdowns. They don't bother trying to have him run. He's just passing and doing his thing. All right. Our next guy on the list is another guy jumped up 10 spots. So these 3 guys are guys that came, Murray at 4, Herbert at 5, and then Carr from 11 to 6. Now Josh Allen from 17 to 7. Josh Allen of the Bills. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns this year. So he's the second right after Murray. Got 21 touchdowns, 7 picks. He got a 103.2 quarterback rating. But the thing that I've seen this year is when they got him, Stephon Diggs now this year, he's got a lot of weapons to use. And now he's not throwing into triple coverage and doing dumb crap like he's done the last couple of years. Because there were times where I'm watching the game and like the Bills are beating the Patriots last year. And then he would go and throw it in like triple coverage for some stupid reason and they intercepted. Next thing you know, the Patriots win the game. And I'm like, why is he doing that? You're winning. Don't be so dumb. And this year he's not being dumb. He's being smart. And if it wasn't for freaking Kyler Murray and the goddamn Hail Mary, that crazy son of a gun, he would have a win against the Cardinals in that huge game. That was awesome to watch, by the way, too. But Josh Allen's one of those guys where he's athletic. He's got a big arm. He just needs to get his head in the game a little bit. And this year he's starting to get that way. His team's winning. They've been on a couple sliding here a little bit. That last time we saw him was against the Cardinals. He had the bye week last week, so we'll see what happens going forward. But I think he's a franchise quarterback, kind of in the vein of, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of one of a kind, if you ask me. He's got a little bit of everybody, and he could do the right thing if he just gets his head in the game. He could really be a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, there too.
A little bit of an Elway throwback.
Yeah, he's just kind of like crazy, like, but he's got the big arm and he's athletic and he's big. Yep. Like there's kind of a big defensive tackle trying to bring him down. And he's just like, brr, and it keeps going. Like it's crazy. He does a lot of crazy stuff.
I give a lot of credit. His turnaround this year. I think Micah Hyde talked to him a lot.
Okay, I don't know about that, but we'll say it. All right, now we go to my number 8 quarterback. He dropped from 5 to 8. Ooh. This is the guy when I said him in June. Nico laughed and just laughed and laughed at how he got it into my top 5. And I don't know why, because he's only got 4 interceptions. He's got 22 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and a 106.6 quarterback rating. That's pretty damn good. He's the 5th highest rated quarterback. No, the 4th highest rated quarterback in the NFL right now. No, he's not. He's the 5th. But it's Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill. The guy has been great 2 years in a row. But the reason why I had to drop him is because his success is definitely predicated on Henry running the ball. Okay? Defenses have to worry about Henry running the ball. They have to get to Henry before he gets going. So they have to put more guys in the box, which allows Tannehill some one-on-ones on the outside and a chance to at least take advantage of that, because they don't play coverage against them very much. But he does hit the guy, and he is very accurate, and he does have a great deep ball. And he's pretty athletic enough to run around too if he has to. So he's playing great, but I had to drop him a little bit because I do think, if he didn't have Derrick Henry, would he be as good as he is? He'd still be pretty good, but I don't know if he'd be in the top 5. So he did drop, but Nico laughed like he shouldn't even be in the top 20. Come on, Nico. Okay. Now this one, it hurts me because number 9, this guy was number 3 back in June. And I was pretty excited about him this year because I thought he was a monster and I thought he was going to tear everybody up again. But with a 93.4 quarterback rating, 6 interceptions, only 15 passing touchdowns in 10 games, and only 3 rushing touchdowns this year, the MVP of the league, Lamar Jackson, had to drop down from 3 to 9. His teams have been losing games, and I have to think it's because of him. His accuracy downfield throwing has gone down this year. It's actually worse than it was last year. And he had improved on that from the year before. And that's how he became MVP, because teams are scared of him running and of him passing, because he started to make things happen. And this year he's not doing so great. He does still have 575 rushing yards this year, but it's one of those things where he's regressed, or for defenses have figured him out. And he doesn't quite have that same, he's faster than crap, but he doesn't have the agility of Kyler Murray. So he's more of a straight line runner. So the defenses, if they can kind of get next to him and just kind of run into him and bang him, he'll fall down. He's kind of a skinny guy too, where Murray will juke you and move around, and he's just as fast and scary. And Murray's kind of taken over the reins as the best scrambling quarterback or the best running quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. And Lamar Jackson now is kind of being in the doghouse. So he dropped down to 9, but he's still a top 10 quarterback. Come on, he's awesome. Just got to work on his passing. All right, and my last one in the top 10, dropped from 6. He was 6 in June, down to 10. And that would be a guy who's got 112.5 quarterback rating this year. I couldn't believe he had that high quarterback rating. That's the 3rd highest rating, right behind Rodgers and Mahomes.
He's got 20. He's doing that good.
That's not Matt Ryan. He's got 24 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and only 5 picks. But his team stinks. His team's defense stinks. And a lot of he's leading the league in passing yards this year. But all those yards are in garbage time. And that's Deshaun Watson at 10. He was 6, drops to 10. And the reason why is because I think he's got the talent. He's smart. I've seen interviews with him. Like, he knows where he's supposed to go with the ball. He can read things. But I got to be honest, I don't think their offense helps him out much. Because I've showed you plays when we watched the Packers against Houston. They're running some stupid freaking plays. Like, guys just running straight out of, like, one time I showed you that one play where the guy just ran straight out of the end zone. Like, he didn't even stop to come back. He just ran straight out of the end zone. Like, what the receiver? How's he going to throw you the ball when you run out of the end zone, you dumb ding dong? Like, it just seems like he's got a bunch of dumb guys on his team and then Randall Cobb. So he's got to be like, okay, I got to throw to Randall Cobb and pray that these other guys are not stupid. You know, Will Fuller's an idiot. I'm glad the Packers didn't trade for him as much as everybody wanted to. But I think Watson is one of those guys where it's like, he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's smart. I think he knows what's going on. He can use his legs. He can do all that stuff. But his offense is so stupid and dumb that it hurts him and drops him down to 10. So there you go. Mahomes number 1, Rodgers number 2, Wilson number 3, Murray number 4, Justin Herbert number 5. That's my guy. Derek Carr number 6. That's for you, Rick. You got Josh Allen at 7, Tannehill at 8, Lamar Jackson 9, Sean Watson at 10. Boom. Top 10. Ben's top 10s. Quarterbacks as of 10 weeks in the season. Well, 11 weeks, but 10 games in the season.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Week 11.
Oh, and one more thing as an aside, my top 10 running backs after 10 games in the season has not changed since the first time when I did it. It's still Aaron Jones number 1, Aaron Jones number 2, Aaron Jones number 3, Aaron Jones number 4, Aaron Jones number 5, Aaron Jones number 6, Aaron Jones number 7, Aaron Jones number 8, Aaron Jones number 9, and Aaron Jones number 10. Okay, back to you.
I think you're missing one in the top 10, in my opinion, this year. I don't know. I don't have the stats pulled up. And you didn't. I don't think you mentioned him an honorable mention, but I think he's a big key as to why they're having such a good season, and that's Goff out in LA.
Oh.
All right.
I like a lot of the names on there. I agree with a lot of the order for some. Murray and Herbert, as much promise as they have, I think maybe would be down below a few of those guys for me. But I was surprised not to hear Goff's name because I think he's having a great year for the Rams and a big reason why they're successful this year.
Well, Browner, this is my opinion on Goff. Goff is kind of he's the reincarnation of Drew Brees. He's the guy who he's in a system that's really, 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 really good. And he gets easy throws. And he gets guys wide open because the system is so good. And because of that, I don't like Jason, like even you guys, I think both you guys have said you're scared of the Rams. You think the Rams are going to be the team to beat in the playoffs. I agree, except I think Goff is the weak link of the team because I think he's the guy who could make a mistake and do some dingle-dong move. And that's where I don't think he's terrible. I have him in the top 20. But I don't think he's more like the bottom of my top 20. Like I got Breeze and I got Rivers in there. I got Joe Burrow who got hurt now, but I thought he was playing great. I got, guys like that. I got Taysom Hill, who's in my top 20. But it's like
I don't want to see
the thing. I'm not a fan
of the Saints either if Taysom Hill's their quarterback.
No, that's the thing. Would you rather see Drew Brees or Taysom Hill? It's the same type of thing. Would you rather see Jared Goff? I mean, if you put Justin Herbert with the Rams, he would have freaking 50 touchdowns in a year because all of his guys are wide open all the time with all the talent the Rams have too, and their defense and everything else. And that's the only thing is like Goff is kind of like he's like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a guy. He can make all the throws. He can do all the things. So he's kind of like Kirk Cousins. So he's ready to. I would say he's like a Kirk Cousins type guy.
I could agree with that. I think he's benefit of that system.
Yeah, and I don't think he's bad. I mean, he can make all the throws, but sometimes I think it's like I don't know if you watch, it's almost like he looks to Sean McVay to tell him like what's going to happen on the play, and then that's what happens on the play. Like if the exact thing doesn't happen and what the play is designed to do, he has a problem. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't go through his reads like Derek Carr and some of these other guys. Like it has to be exactly the way it's drawn up, and then it usually works great, and he throws to the right guy. And then as soon as something got out of whack or whatever, like just like when you go to the Super Bowl and you can't score any points against the Patriots, when you were the top rated, your crazy offense that whole season, right? And then they go to the Super Bowl and the Patriots shut them down. They shut them down. And why? How did it happen? It was Goff. They took away all this easy stuff, and he didn't know what the hell to do. So, I mean, he's okay, but he's just not my top 10.
I would say watching him a couple of times this year, I would say he's better than I thought he was.
Yeah.
I was impressed. He's very accurate most of the time, but he also has they do a lot of action. He's good on the move. He's good at, doing all the running that system. He's good at running that system. He also has a lot of deep drops where he's got plenty of space around him. When he can step into his throws and he makes good throws. And he has guys like Robert Woods is really underrated. That guy is really good. He gets open a lot. He's reliable. He's not like a burner, but he catches everything, gets open a lot, does all that stuff. He's got good tight end that can catch the ball. He's got,
Cup's the same way. Cooper Cup's the same way.
Yeah, right. Cup too. Yep. I mean, he's got good, reliable guys that get open with the scheme, and a lot of it's on time, and he can execute that's why when Ben said Kirk Cousins, I was like, yeah, it sounds a lot like Kirk Cousins to me.
Yep. Your explanation made sense. He's one name that I didn't hear that I thought maybe I would.
Yeah. But I think I was impressed watching him, but I'm more impressed with their defense, which scares the crap out of me.
Hey, if you put Deshaun Watson in that offense, he'd kill it too. So, like if you put Jared Goff in Deshaun Watson's offense, it would be the ugliest thing you've ever seen. That's all I'm going to say. That offense is terrible. That's like Mike McCarthy brand offense.
Well, they gave away all their good players. That guy that was,
They should have gave J.J. Watt to the Packers for some stuff to try to rebuild that team. That would have been smart. We would have loved J.J. Watt.
He had a touchdown this week.
J.J. Watt? Dang it. All right, Ben. What else you got? Are we going to score predictions?
Well, whatever you want to do. I'm looking to see what they're talking about Taysom Hill in here.
I didn't know we were doing a new updated quarterbacks list.
Well, I didn't either, but I was doing it last night at 11 o'clock at night.
Woo! Eckes says McCarthy had a terrible game, coaching again, and did his McCarthy stuff. I don't know, guys. Don't bag on McCarthy. He's having a rough go there in Dallas. He's doing his best.
What?
He's Mike McCarthy.
Dude.
You know something else? Here, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about Mike McCarthy. All right, people who hating on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy became the coach of the Packers, and the Packers said this: they're like, okay, you need to find a charity to get involved with, and we'll pay for it and all this sort of stuff, but you just represent the team. So Mike McCarthy was looking at places in Wisconsin and all this stuff. He met up with the Children's Hospital, UW Children's Hospital in Madison, and where they have a lot of cancer patients and do a lot of cancer research and all this other sort of stuff. And he went down and he visited, and he came back to the team, and he's like, I found this great charity right here, UW Children's Hospital in Madison. He's like, but I'm going to do that on my own. So I'll pick another one to do through the team, but he's like, I'm going to do that one on my own time. I'm going to put my own money into it, all that sort of stuff. And he did. So every year they do a radiothon fundraiser with one of the radio stations that I get to work with, Q106, and their whole station, their whole family of stations. And Mike McCarthy and his wife went to the radiothon fundraiser every single year he was the coach of the Packers and helped raise them a bunch of money for the Children's Hospital. So he's a good dude. All right. Give him a little slack.
Okay, but he's also not a great coach.
No.
Let me ask you a question. Does Mike McCarthy have a street already? He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy way.
Yeah.
God dang, that's really sad.
All you gotta do is win a Super Bowl. You get one, right, Brown?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's Aaron?
You get a street?
Where's Aaron Rodgers Street? You got Brett Favre pass.
You didn't get one.
Where's Aaron Rodgers?
They made Brett Favre pass after he retired, after he left the team.
Oh, okay. So after Rodgers leaves next year, then it's going to be
Aaron Rodgers Road.
Stop it.
Rodgers Road.
Stop it, Ben.
Dude, there's a new guy, Francesco, who's calling me out, telling me that Aaron Rodgers is way better than I said he is.
That's true. Francesco.
And I got to say to you, Francesco, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. I disagree.
But he also hammered a little bit too much on MVS, even though we tried to say MVS was, it was okay.
Well, I can understand. MVS
I get it, but he compared it to the Bostic.
Yeah. Well, I think I straightened him out on that part, but
yeah.
But the Aaron Rodgers part, he said that if Rodgers wasn't the quarterback, the Packers would only have like 2 wins. And I'm like, I don't think
That's probably a
so.
little
I think
too
they
much.
would still have the same amount of wins. I just think it would look different. I think it would look more like, I think LaFleur would be able to run the system he wants to run, and it would look a lot more like the Rams offense. So all you need is a Jared Goff guy to run that. Now, we don't have that guy. So, maybe you can't really do what you want to do. But
yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I get so on Rodgers is because when you have Jared Goff doing what he's doing with the Rams, and you had Matt frickin' Ryan win an MVP. Matt frickin' Ryan won an MVP with this offense. Matt Ryan. Not a good quarterback. Matt Ryan. And then you got Jimmy Garoppolo gets the team to the Super Bowl with this same offense. Aaron Rodgers should be killing it with this offense. But I've seen too many times where it looks like Mike McCarthy offense on the tape. And I'm like, Rodgers, get off the Mike McCarthy offense, because that's the stuff he's probably putting in there. Like, I like this. I like it when guys just run straight for freaking 20 yards. Nobody else likes that, Rodgers. Nobody else likes it. LaFleur don't like it either. But he don't have any say because Rodgers makes more money than him, and he's freaking got all the say. So I don't want to be a jerk about it, but I'm just saying, if Goff, freaking Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo can look like freaking Pro Bowlers in this same offense that's supposed to be run a certain way, Rodgers should be killing it. And he's killing it this year. But a lot of it's still off freaking ball plays, him looking at Devontae too much, blabbity floop blop. I pointed it out over and over again. I gave Rodgers my number 2 quarterback ranking. I know he's good. I like him. I love him. He's awesome. I just wish he would run the offense instead of doing the superstar, I'm Aaron Rodgers guy play. There is a time where Jared Goff, are you ready for this?
Nope.
This week, Jared Goff has played the 49ers. Early in the year when Jared Goff played the 49ers, okay, his first 4 passes, okay, were negative 20 yards in the air. Now, they went for 100 and some yards because it was a dump off screen pass over here and a dump off bootleg over here and a dump. The ball was in the air, -5. Like, I'm not saying like, he threw it backwards. I'm saying he was back at shotgun and he threw it to a guy who was 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then ran for a bunch of yards. That's not hard to do.
He's running the system, though. He's running the system.
He's running the system. Like Browner's saying, he's doing his thing, and he's doing great. So if Goff can do it, why can't Rodgers do it? That's all I'm saying.
He's getting there. He's doing it. He's having a great year. The Packers got to just win this game against the Bears. All right, let's get to it. In the chat, give your score predictions. Browner already says we got to get out of here. But we got to let you go. But you got a bonus Ben Top 10s. You got a bonus country song. First ever debut of the country song, Hafeman Brothers. And you got Browner guaranteeing victory for the Packers, 24 to 10.
Is that Boba Fett or the Mandalorian?
Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, there's
Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the episode today. Don't spoil it, Browner. I got to go down and watch it.
Oh, it's good. It's a good one.
Well, I hope it's not like the other ones, because the first 3 are like, it's like a video game. Okay, you want me to help you with this? Well, then you got to go do this first. And then it's like, next one's like, you got to help me with this. You got to go. Like, I wanted to be part of the story extended from the first season.
Well,
So I've
the
heard
last 2 have been good.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this next one is going to be good, but I don't want any spoilers. Nobody spoilers in the chat.
Woo! Ekis is giving you a spoiler. Packers 34, Chicago 20.
Dang, why are these guys getting so high on these?
They got lots of faith. Browner thinks Browner's got more faith in the defense there, but that's all right. I like that, Browner. They need it. Defense needs to get pumped up. Ben, you want to go or you want me to go?
I don't have any scores. I'm too scared this week. Bruce
says 27-21 Packers. Bernard says 27-20 Packers. Woo! I'm going to say the craziest thing that's ever been said.
The Bears are going to win?
No.
That's crazy.
The Packers. Woo! Lee says 27-16 Packers. I'm going to say Packers 28. Bears 19, which is a hard score to get, but they're going to do it.
It's weird.
And on top of it, I'm going to heap on by saying the Packers will have a return touchdown in this game, and the Bears will not.
Okay, now you're living in fantasy
Put it
land.
down.
You're living in opposite land. What are you doing?
We'll see when I come back on Tuesday.
Well, now I got to give a score. Okay.
Pick 6 for Jair.
Pick 6 for Jair. Okay. Well, they might. Oh, if Trubisky's playing. I'll say.
Could be defensive. I didn't specify it was special teams.
I think it's
It
going to
won't be special teams. It's going to have to be defense.
Come on, I can hope. I can hope.
I think the Bears are going to score a touchdown on defense.
No.
Yeah. So it's going to be 24-20 Pack. 24-20 Pack with the Bears scoring a defensive touchdown.
Ooh.
Somehow.
All right.
A fumble or something stupid. They're gonna do something stupid.
Don't do something stupid. I hate it when they do
The Bears
stupid
defense
stuff.
is too good. They're too good. They're gonna do something good.
All right. Ekis is betting me a shot that it doesn't happen. All right, Ekis. I'll do a shot on Tuesday night. That's fine.
Don't
You'll
take
do one
any
anyways.
bets. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The Packers return a touchdown and the Bears don't. That's like, don't do that.
Well, I don't know if that's that's
like a
more
1,000,000 to
dumb
1 odds.
or is it more dumb that Ekis is betting me a shot? Like he's going to do the shot anyway. So him betting me a shot, really, it's just getting me to do a shot.
Well, Ekis always wants somebody to do a shot. That's his thing.
All right. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Stay well. Go Pack, go.
That says 24-21.
Packers Bears. Oh, dude, 24-21. All right. Lots of people think it's going to be pretty close. Browner, thanks for being our guest tonight and hanging out.
Browner!
Thanks for singing The Bears Still Suck, too.
Yeah, that was
Love it.
great singing. Great singing, Browner.